Three, two, one.
Watch the screen, not your feet.
Bill, shut up. I got it. Oh no, our piece is ready.
Tag out, man. Tag out. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world wrapped in plastic. It's fantastic. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Yeah. Welcome to Campy Cast, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome
Uh,
back. Kind of a longer stretch than usual, but
Hope you
who
liked
cares?
our Sethverse introduction. That's a great bit.
Yeah, great,
Great bit.
great
I
moment.
love Bill Clinton. But yeah,
Yeah,
we're back.
I'm
Another episode.
Anthony.
Five points. I'm Brian, as usual. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
and today we have three movies here. Uh,
hmm One is noticeably not paired with another, thankfully.
it's
So,
something different today. So, but before we get to these three movies, we got some stuff to cover
yeah,
that
yeah.
has happened in the last weeks while we're last
What's the news?
couple
I
days.
forgot. It's been a while.
There's been a writer's strike that's been
Oh, yeah, the
tainting.
writer's strike.
Yeah, I think they're starting to attempt to settle parts of it, but it has affected Hollywood in a lot of
Yeah.
areas. Tons of stuff gets delayed, like are getting delayed. Like the movie Craven the Hunter was a film that was supposed to come out like I think in October, September, November, I don't know, sometime this year, but
Oh,
it's been
really?
pushed back to August of next year. And I think it has
Oh,
something to do
okay.
with the writer's strike. So,
Okay. To be honest, it's mainly just embarrassing how long this has gone on for.
just
Like,
pay your
a lot of this
goddamn
could have been
workers.
solved if they gave people fair wages. But nah, it's been like so
Thank
many
you,
weeks at this
man.
point. It's kind of pathetic.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, you hear about
do
stuff like all
appreciate,
over the
yeah,
place.
yeah, do appreciate some of the efforts people have been going to support the strike.
Even
Seth
Seth.
famously donated 1 million. What a Chad.
Yeah, what a
Good
Chad,
on you,
Seth
Seth.
MacFarlane,
And
supporting the
also,
people in
Family Guy
need.
and American Dad are both on hold, which I noticed as the Seth guy
Yeah, even
of
Seth
people.
MacFarlane decides to hold off Family Guy, a show that's been going on for years, just to, help some people in the writer's strike.
Yeah.
You
This is
know?
the second time Family Guy's been affected by a writer's strike, actually. That's why, if you notice, season 6 is half the length. That's why, because Seth was participating in a writer's strike.
Oh,
So it's
that's
half.
well
I don't know
to
why I know that, but that's my Family Guy writer's strike trivia
I don't
of the day.
I'm afraid I don't know how much to say about it, but this has been something
Yeah.
that's been going on for a while. Like films like Dune Part 2 might be delayed to next year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, Beyond the Spider-Verse, I think, was technically delayed to that, but they have their own
It was
issues,
like,
which
yeah, honestly, it might have
that
had
was.
something to do with that, but that was gonna happen anyway. So
Yeah,
like,
if I'm being honest, that was one of the easiest delays to predict ever. It was gonna happen.
yeah,
Like,
there was no like
come on.
even one of the creators said there was no way it's gonna release in the release date. So I think it might just be pushed back to 2025 if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, and I'd rather that, take your time, take your time.
Yeah.
Don't
At
don't rush
latest
it
it's
out.
like 2026 or something, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know. My main thing is just, you know what? I'm glad this is not glad it's going on, but I'm glad people are actively fighting for better wages for writers and people because they get it. The industry in general is kind of a fucked up place, but they get it the worst out of a lot of people. Just minimum wage writers who aren't given fair treatment for a lot of stuff. And I'm glad that there has been support for this. It's awful that Hollywood, just the big executives, are trying to not do that. They've been trying to replace actual writing with AI in some cases, which is so terrible. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. It sucks. And I hope they get what they want, but
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see.
We'll see
Ooh.
how this strike goes. It has been like affecting a bunch of movies coming out, and a lot
I
of they
think
might
they
get
have
a
to
lot of
crumble
delays.
eventually. They can't do this forever.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. They will
Anyways.
dismantle the establishment board by board. That's it. Yeah.
How about we talk about something that happened last week or week
But
after?
what happened last week?
Barbenheimer. Was that last
Oh
week?
boy. Oh god.
Now I know you said in the last episode, okay,
Sorry, yeah, keep going.
constipated or something.
No, I was vomiting because you
Oh.
said Barbenheimer, but
Anyways, I know you're not that fond of this trend, which
oh no, I hate it.
oh
I
damn,
hate it.
really? I don't
Yeah, no,
hate
I
it.
hate it.
I like some
I
parts
hate it.
about it. Okay, just fine. Just
Okay.
explain. Explain.
Okay, so first of all, the memes are very unfunny. People are like, "Teehee, we dropped off the boys to see Barbenheimer, and then the men are gonna go see Barbie." Teehee, like, haha, you made the dramatic one look like the child thing, and the more family-friendly one look like the big thing. Bravo for that brilliant subversion joke. Good job. You're so funny. And also, I do think it's like a lame thing to make into a bit, because like
Well,
it's not a novel concept. They're just two movies of opposite tones that are releasing around the same time. Like, is that really the cool thing? Do you think that's cool? I don't get it. It's
I
such
mean,
a
like, I don't hate this idea.
I
I
do.
guess I don't think it's like it's definitely better than the Minions trend
Well,
because,
that's
like,
just kind of a different trend in general, but
yeah, I
I
guess
don't know.
it's much less annoying,
Yeah.
and like at the
See,
same
even
time,
before Barbenheimer became a thing, I hated the Barbie hype in general because I hated it because it seemed like such a lame thing to sweep. Like, haha, there's a new Barbie movie coming out. Let's stand it because it's funny to say a Barbie movie will be like this amazing thing. Haha, you're so funny.
I
You're
mean,
so clever.
I mean,
And then you bring the Oppenheimer thing into it, and it's too much, man.
I think a lot
Too
of it
much.
still had unironic hype due to the directors and the people behind the movie, so I think that might have been a part of it.
Well, some of
So
it was unironic, but I know there was a lot of people who were like, "Teehee, I'm gonna give this 5 stars on Letterbox before
I
it
think that
comes
was
out. I'm
more
so
with
quirky."
Barbie
Ooh.
rather than Oppenheimer in
Oh
that
no,
case.
Oppenheimer didn't have any ironic hype. I think.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was kind of just paired along with
my
Barbie
hype for Oppenheimer was that they got Josh Peck, my boy, and
and
Devin
Devin
Bostic in
Boston.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen Oppenheimer, but we're not really discussing it in this video. Instead, we're doing a better trend. It's called
If we talked
Freaked.
about Oppenheimer
The
in the same
got
video as Barbie, I would like cry myself to sleep at night. So luckily we
I
didn't
think
do that.
maybe you're exaggerating a bit, but
I'm
okay.
not one easy bit, but
Anyways, the trend is we're doing today instead is Freakdy got
see,
Barbie,
normally, Anthony's the one who runs a lot of the pitches, but see, my pitch
sort
for
of.
this one was we call it the for real episode, where we talk about fur eked, fur Eddie got fingered. But then Barbie doesn't begin with fur, but if it'll fit. These are all insane movies in different ways. So like,
Yeah,
yeah,
sort
we
of.
could talk about
But
Barbie because then
one
we're
of
like, we gotta talk about more new releases. So I
yeah,
threw that
a
bomb,
part of
and
me
then
about I want to do that is because we do the 2023 video, and I don't want that video to have too many movies to talk about.
too many movies.
That was
But yeah, no,
unintentional to
okay,
reference. Anyways,
okay.
so I'm just saying, now before we get to those movies, I also want to. The thing that annoys me about this trend is that since it's became so big, which I genuinely was really surprised of how big it was. Like, I went to see both movies in theaters, not on the same day. I didn't want to spend 5 hours in a theater to see these two movies. I saw them in like gaps from each other. Uh,
Mhm.
so I ended up when I went to see Oppenheimer, I was like, wow, this theater is crowded. Like the most crowded I've seen a theater in a while. Like
Because
damn.
everyone was going for double features, Barbenheimer, XD, ooh, rar. That's exactly why they were there. It's
Yeah. I
always
didn't
happened.
expect it would be that
Barbie's
big
crossing
though.
$1 billion because of Barbenheimer memes.
I
Yay.
think it was gonna do well
Yippee.
anyway. I mean, just look at the fucking marketing of the movie. So like,
Yeah,
I think that might
but
just helped it a bit more. And like, I don't know. Unlike Minions, I am much less furious about that because that movie was already destined to make like $1 billion anyway because it's fucking Minions. So the meme just kind of helped it along. Plus, the meme in general just got really
mhm.
old quickly. So like,
Oh no, Minions. I believe I talked about it back when we did
we did
discuss
talk
Minions
about
too.
it.
But Gentle Minions was an awful trend, and I'm glad it's dead in the ground. This is not as bad as Gentle Minions, but I'm like, it's still kind of
I
annoying
don't think I don't think it's like an funny, but I think it's a moderately fun thing to do. So I don't think it's like the memes are hilarious or absolute riot. But in terms of my experience watching these two movies, it was just kind of a normal experience,
though.
except everyone was wearing different clothing. But why do we need a dress code to see movies?
Well, you could wear a pink shirt and not go to Barbie. That's
That's
fair.
true. I could fuck with people by saying. instead of going
Yeah.
to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which
Yeah,
honestly,
that's the actually no, that's the actual thing that pisses me off. Because Dead Reckoning Part One, we won't do an episode on it, but it's a great movie,
yeah,
and it's not
honestly,
getting
better
any.
than both of
It's
those
barely
movies.
making back budget because everyone's like, "Ooh, XD Barbie,
I
teehee,"
think it was
and
just like if they released it another time, it would have worked better. Because the film was doing well, but of course, when Barbenheimer happened, it was like a whole thing. So that's kind of like the
um,
one thing, especially
I
since I
know,
consider that movie to be better than both Oppenheimer and Barbie.
I know. Are you sure you were doing well? Because in my theater when I was at Dead Reckoning, it was nearly empty. So
Mine was
I
like
think it
crowded.
I think it's kind of underperforming, which sucks. But
Yeah,
oh
it
well.
definitely is now. But yeah,
Of course,
um,
Top Gun Maverick did better. I roll.
I mean that
But
movie's pretty great. I mean,
well, but
and
you got any more comments on the Barbenheimer trend?
one last thing is that Paramount has already tried to capitalize off of
Oh
this in a
no.
really, really stupid way. So basically, recently, the new Saw movie, which was originally going to release close to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which is disappointing because they could have done that double screening. But now it's being pushed on the same day as the new Paw Patrol movie. So now
Oh
Paramount is
yeah.
going Saw Patrol, and I'm all like, okay, okay. Now, already, if you weren't a fan of Barbenheimer, like,
Mhm.
at least I could say those films already had some hype to them before the trend. But now it's like, okay, maybe some people are excited for Saw. I know people like Xander are.
Mhm.
But like then there's the Paw Patrol. No one's gonna see. Only babies are gonna see
Well,
that movie. It's like
maybe the animation cinema people
okay,
will
maybe
actually get to
those
see there's a
people.
panic attack. Okay,
The panic
maybe.
attack scene. But still, it's
And
just like something stupid for Paramount to just capitalize off of. It's like they
no,
didn't
I
think of
do
why
agree
people were
because
supporting the
see,
Barbenheimer trend in the
see,
first
I
place.
hate Barbenheimer, but this is worse than that, definitely. And I think that's because the trend I hate Barbenheimer, as I just discussed. You people suck. However, I think it's like yeah, because Oppenheimer was the new Nolan. People were gonna watch that because it's the new Nolan. Barbie was the new Greta Gerwig. People are gonna watch that because the new Greta Gerwig, and also a bunch of there's weirdly a market for all those direct to DVD Barbie movies. I think a lot of people went because of
Maybe.
that.
You
So
know, Barbie's like a
trust me, you
huge
should see.
brand, so
Hmm. When I had to look up the Barbie camera, but there were like 30 other movies with Barbie in the title. It's a big market. You got to understand that. So there were people who were going to see both of those anyway. There will be people seeing Saw X, even if it's terrible, which it probably will be.
be
But there
honest.
is a market there. And then, like I said, only toddlers or animation cinema people looking for panic attacks will see Paw Patrol. So Saw Patrol, I don't think people will fall for. They'll be like, no,
Yeah,
this
plus
isn't gonna work
doing
out.
it twice in the same year is just kind of stupid.
Yeah, it kind of lessens the impact, but
Exactly. Like if
I don't
I
know.
think like doing it twice in the same year is just gonna make the trend get old. Like
Yeah.
it already these type of trends are already getting old. My boy Morbius will always be the king of film memes, so
Oh yeah,
not worth
Morbius
competing.
trend was a great trend.
Yeah, because that movie was never gonna do well. Everyone was just laughing at it to the point where
Yeah,
Sony thought they could profit off of it by doing the funniest thing and release it again in theaters. Like,
and
come
no
on.
one showed up.
Yeah, that's kind of depressing, but it's
No
really
one
funny.
showed up.
So that's what's funny
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
Morbius trend. So, anyways, let's get
Which movie you
into
want to start with? Because
I guess
what are we doing?
Barbie
This is
to get that over with, and then
okay.
go
I
to
guess we'll
the
get that
FR
over with.
movies. So,
All right, all
anyways,
right.
I saw Barbie. You saw Barbie.
I did.
One's more harsh than the other, and I think it's kind of obvious based off of how much someone's been dishing this movie and the trend it's a part of.
Well, yeah, the trend kind of helps me hate it, but even ignore that.
It's
Not a
like a
very good
weird ass
movie,
movie.
Barbie.
Okay, so I
Okay,
know a
I
lot
will
of
say, if anything, it's an interesting movie, which is more than I thought it would be. So I'll give it that. It's
this is
interesting.
a weird movie for
However,
me. I have
I think
very
Barbie, its main problem is it's really bad at okay. So the social commentary and themes, I don't think are executed well
Yeah.
at all. But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Let's just
spoilers
continue.
for Barbie, and we don't hate woman, by the way, for those people who are, very defensive about this movie on the
No, I
internet.
love women.
Yeah,
I love
women
ghosts.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going.
Anyways, yeah, like I'm saying, um, yeah, we have nothing against the people who like this movie. We just have problems with it.
Hmm.
But yeah,
See,
spoilers as well,
yeah, I don't know.
because this is still
I
in
don't want to
theaters,
call this
so.
movie problematic because that sounds dramatic, but I do think a lot of people are overlooking like glaring issues because like, but it's funny though, and I'm like, eh.
I
It's
enjoyed
funny
this
in
movie,
parts a lot.
but I don't
But
love it, and I kind of feel like there's just a lot holding it back for me. And I just and just so
yeah,
much of it I feel like could have been executed much better. A lot of it definitely just falls apart near the third act of the movie. So yeah, I'll get
mhm.
to that later, which I know is the part where a lot of people cried. But uh,
People cried at that.
I mean, I don't know. For me, this
The
movie
part
just
was
had
stupid.
like I thought it was like just like a weird moment because I feel like the movie didn't manage its tone that well.
No. See, I think I'm in terms of rating, I'm way lower than you, but I think we can agree this movie is its best when it's trying to be like
Oh
stupid
yeah,
or funny.
funny when it's
'Cause
just
I
trying to
had
be fun.
like I know I had like low rating, but I did like there were some genuine laughs, mostly from Ken, played by Ryan
Oh,
Gosling.
he's great. He
He kind of
steals the
carries this
show.
movie, if I'm being honest. He's like the best part. Uh,
In general, the
kind of thought
performances
the
are great. Ryan Gosling, yeah, steals the show. Everyone else is good, like
the
Margot Robbie, Will Ferrell. The
like
acting's
Alan.
good.
Alan's cool.
Yeah, Alan's cool. He could
Uh,
stay. He's a Chad. I won't even.
he doesn't
I won't
do.
deny that.
I wish this movie was about Alan. He doesn't do
Yeah,
much.
like the fucking scene where he just beats up a bunch of poor construction workers. That was funny. See,
Yeah,
there's funny moments. This
classic.
movie, the best this movie gets is when it's just trying to be like a fun, goofy comedy. Because I think that works for a movie like this. Like, look by the trailers of this movie.
I never watched the trailers though,
Really,
so
when I watched the trailers, I was not sure what I was expecting and going into it. I thought it would be like I was pretty sure there's a deeper meaning to it because it's a Greta Gerwig movie. She's made stuff like Lady Bird and Little Woman. I haven't
the
seen Lady Bird. Great
oh
movie.
yeah, I've seen it too. Lady Bird's a great movie.
I
Really
think it
nice
just
movie. I
works
liked it a lot.
much better plot-wise than this movie. And this
Well,
movie has a lot.
Lady Bird can't have any plot holes because it's real life, you know.
I mean,
So
this
then you
movie
can
does
like
have like world building issues that make no
blah,
sense.
blah, blah. See,
Now,
my part is even less about the world building and more just what the movie's saying. Because I don't know, I find its message
it's
is really
confusing.
muddled,
It's
and I don't
yeah.
get
And
it.
I feel like
So
they could have
basically,
fixed it, but it just didn't
yeah,
end up landing well.
yeah, I don't know. Main thing is so basically so Barbie, right, played by Margot Robbie, is a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. She's wrapped in plastic. It's fantastic. Then she's fed up with her normal life in Barbie land or whatever because it's like it's repetitive, you know. And then they go to the real world. Ooh. And also Ken comes for some reason. I don't know why Ken
And
joins
learns
in.
about the
Ken
patriarchy, because the patriarchy is
yeah,
very bad.
and then they go to the real, which is weird because they're dolls, but also you can just drive to the real world. There's
I
the
thought that
gap
was
here.
kind of funny, honestly. I don't know why,
No,
but
I like the stupid visuals of like how like all their when
yeah.
they were driving
I
there,
like
all
the
the
scene
stuff
where
there just
Will
stupid
Ferrell and
like
his gang
set.
attempt to travel there as well. I thought that was funny.
Although I will say Will Ferrell's character was a little too eerily similar to his role in the Lego
That
Movie.
is
I'm
true.
just
That's
saying.
true.
It's
Honestly,
kind of obvious.
you know
Ooh,
what? I think
big executive
everything
who hates fun. That was
I think
kind of annoying.
everything that the
But
Lego movie did was done better, much better in that movie than it was done in this movie, even though the messages are completely different. So, yeah, obviously, because the Lego movie wasn't really that much about feminism and stuff like that. Which, yeah, this
not any of
movie
that stuff. Just the executive angle is a little
similar.
much.
Yeah, it
I
is
don't know.
similar,
See,
but
my problem is I think this movie has unlaid out double standard that I don't think gets called out enough. Because then, so they present the real world as this overly misogynistic place where everyone hates women and they're second class citizens. And the Kens are like, man, we should form an uprising. And then Ken basically he goes back to Barbie Land. Then he fucks shit up, and then that's his new thing because the Kens take over now. But I think the problem, right? The Barbies do the same thing to the Kens normally, and they don't receive
Yeah,
any
that's my main
repercussions for
issue
it.
with the message of this movie because like
Yeah,
they're not really doing it like sure what they're doing is not good, but like there's not really much realization on the Barbie side. All like Barbie does apologize to Ken in one scene, but that's literally it.
it's
And then
very limited, and also it wasn't just Ken. There were dozens of Kens who were treated similarly, and they just get like waved off near the
yeah,
end.
that's just
So
like I felt like that was just a joke. And now they said that they have to like earn respect, and I can kind of understand once there's equal respect in the real world, there's respect in the Barbie world. But I feel like in the
but then,
context of the story, it just doesn't work at all.
yeah, I don't know. I don't get it either because they're like, well, we have respect in both worlds, but like the Barbie world was already misogynistic before they even learned about
Yeah,
the the real world stuff. So it just makes the whole message kind of muddled.
yeah, it just
Also,
doesn't sit that
it's like
right.
a,
Well,
it's also not to the same extent, not at all. But when they're making fun of Mattel, I'm like, well, you guys just do this anyway. So it kind of reminded me of Rescue Rangers and stuff like that, where they're criticizing the company, but the company still does the thing. Not as bad,
yeah,
obviously.
obviously, this is
It's like
nowhere
okay,
near as
but
terrible
it's
as
like
Rescue
okay,
Rangers.
no, because there's this one scene where all these girls walk up to Barbie. Barbie's like, "You guys love me? I'm Barbie." And then they call her out for a bunch of stuff. By the way, one of them was named Sasha, which I found really funny
For
unintentionally.
amphibia
But
reasons.
yeah, haha, that's the thing. But no, then they call her out on a bunch of stuff, and it's like, well, Mattel still does this stuff with their Barbie figures. What is the difference now? I don't understand. This
Also, I just
new
felt
Barbie
like
movie launched a line of Barbie figures anyway. So,
that's true, and they're
not
probably
sure what
gonna
their
make
goal
more
was there.
stuff. I heard announcements of a like I don't know, a fucking Uno movie or some shit. I heard
It's
talks
like
about that. A Monopoly movie is in the works.
quite literally, it's jokes Red Letter Media made like years ago, except they're real. Like a
I
fucking
know.
Mattel cinematic universe.
I mean, I
Ready?
think Barbie like somewhat makes sense since like yeah, but what are you gonna do with a fucking Crayola movie? It's
Yeah,
crayons. It's
I
literally
don't know.
crayons. These Barbie figures are humans. Like what?
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
don't
make
know.
any sense. It's just stupid. I don't know. Like what deep message are they gonna do about crayons? I guess I don't know. Probably something to do with like LGBTQ
Maybe
or something. I don't know. That
maybe there are misogynistic crayons too, and it's
uh,
like
I
Barbie.
understand that the world could be like that in real life a lot of the time, but I feel like they kind of
No,
over
see,
exaggerated here
I don't
or
know if this was
unrealistic
for you.
degree.
I think there's I think there's not as much distinction between Barbie Land and real world as they think there should be. I think the idea is so Barbie World's this exaggerated place where everything's amazing, wrapped in plastic.
It's
It's fantastic.
fantastic.
But then they go to the real world, and I think it's supposed to be a contrast, but I think it doesn't work as well. Because if you think about it, the real world acts the same as Barbie World, except it's just a gender swap. Which just
Yeah.
is that really all that different? There's a fucking car chase in the real world. Is not that like realistic? I think they're trying to portray it as, and that didn't work for me as well as I think I thought it should have. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I thought it was weird, personally.
I didn't really bother it that much. Plus, I do
I
think
don't know. I thought it was
if it's
weird.
one thing that like I think everyone can agree on, even Ben Shapiro, is that the production design is great,
I
fantastic.
know it's
It
amazing. I know it's a style argument. I know, but this movie does look really nice. And in a way, it was kind of refreshing. You don't see many big movies with like a bunch of practical effects anymore, but they did all these nice assets. It was all put
Yeah,
together well.
honestly, I wouldn't
I
mind
thought
if
it
this
looked.
movie won some Oscars, especially
If it
with the
won some
song.
costume design awards, I'd be fine with
Yeah,
that because
same with
that stuff's
production.
great.
It deserves some stuff. Even acting, there's a lot of good performances,
Yeah,
like
no, it was
Ryan
good.
Gosling, like we said. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And also, what did you think of the "I'm Just Ken" song, which is
Okay, I will say, it was a little annoying. See, it was like it
really?
was kind of like the. Well, no. Let me finish. It wasn't talking about the song. Let me
Oh,
finish.
okay.
So, what I was saying was, it was a little annoying before the movie. Like I saw it, everyone was like, "Oh my god, guys, I'm Just Ken is so fire. It's such a great song." And I was like, "Okay, well, I bet it's not that good because everyone's meme hyping this, and everyone's like, I am Kenuff." I heard that like a million fucking times. So I'm like, all right, this song might be mid. That was actually pretty good. I like that
It
part.
was
So
that
it's a good
deserves like a
song.
nomination. I really liked
It's a
it.
little bit overhyped, not that much. It's a good
It
song.
is a great song. It is
I
incredibly
got tired of.
catchy.
And keep in mind, I didn't hear it before I watched the movie,
Oh,
so maybe
I
that
did. I heard
influenced
it like
it.
3 times before I watched the movie, and now I'm
Hmm.
still listening to it. It is so catchy. I don't. I love that song, and I love the
See,
scene
really, I
with
think
it.
this movie just should have been about Ken. Ken carried. Uh,
Yeah, he
no,
was great. Yeah, yeah. I did like. I didn't hate. I don't hate Barbie as a protagonist or anything. He's
she's
fine.
fine.
I
I
think
don't
like I
know.
want to go back
I
to
don't really
my
feel for her as much as the movie I think wants you
yeah
to.
like that.
But
Let's
that
talk
might have
about
just
that
been me.
ending though. Where I feel like
Okay.
the tone just felt like the moment the movie is the moment it tries to be
I think the
really
tone
emotional.
switches way too much for the
No,
ending. That's my
yeah, like it
problem.
ends up trying to be incredibly emotionally impactful, you know. Barbie meets her creator, who's like this old lady who turned out to be the narrator of the story. And then, like, I guess, I don't know, there's like a lesson about what makes you human, you know, you have to earn it or something. And then it ends with her getting plastic surgery to get private parts. And it's like, so I
Yeah.
understand what, like, I felt like this, I mean, I'm not a woman. I can't massively relate to this. So that's kind of a
Um,
part, might be a part of it a little. I don't know. But like it's also like a weird tone switch in terms of how like do you know what I mean? With
yeah. I don't. I think it was okay. Yeah, first because the movie's like they try to have a serious message, but I think they still try to make it a farce too. But then when they like get to the end, it's like, well, you switched your tone way too much from like the end of it. It's
no, especially
so
since
weird,
like
and
the first
also.
2 acts had this like goofy comedy vibe, and that's why I can say that I enjoyed this movie because I just
Yeah,
enjoyed the goofy side of it and thought it was like an overall enjoyable movie. Like even the stuff I dislike, like how they resolved the Ken conflict and how like weird and confusing it felt, I still thought like even that isn't like even the stuff I dislike isn't something that like I hate. You know, to the point where it's like
I think mainly it just
getting
falls
me
apart near
angry.
the end. That's my issue
Yeah,
with it.
I kind
Like,
of
and
agree. Like it just makes
also I
the
find that. Sorry, I have one or two more things about the ending. Can I say that?
yeah,
Okay,
you could
so
go.
I was gonna say is, and part of that, I think the movie doesn't make this doesn't make sense because, so Barbies are like, well, the real world's still misogynistic. You gotta fix that. But then Barbie is happy to go to the real world when the real world is apparently hugely sexist, according to what she just said previously. So I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. That was
Also, it's
confusing.
supposed to be the happy ending that Barbie goes to the real world. But then she's just leaving all these other Barbies behind in Barbie Land, even though from her perspective that's the bad place to be still. So I don't know. I found that weird
Yeah,
personally. I don't know
I
if you
kind
had
of
that.
agree. That kind of confused me.
It's such a weird like way to take it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Eh.
I don't know. I also like what did I mean like the scene. What do you think of the scene where with America Ferrera where she like has like a fucking moral oral sacrifice speech about womanhood and
Oh yeah,
that's what I
that part
thought in
was
the
weird.
theater, and like, and then right after, what's
Sacrifice.
stupid about that? What's weird about that scene is that they randomly interrupt it with a fucking Zack Snyder joke right afterwards. So I'm like,
Oh god, that part. I think I actively said "fuck off." I was like, "Shut up! That's not a
I thought
funny joke."
that it's such. I don't
Hee
understand why that
Snyder.
was so.
It was
What confuses me about that is that we go from this very tragic speech to like a Zack Snyder joke, and I'm all like, that kind of represents my issue with like the tone switch
Yeah.
in this movie, and I feel like that worked so much better in films like the Lego Movie that had an emotional
So
core, but like had more emotional moments before then that would properly build it up better.
yeah.
So
So for the record, I hate the Snyder cut. I didn't hate it because I was a Snyder stan. Just such a badly inserted joke. That's why I was
yeah,
annoyed.
yeah, you should
I
probably
feel like I
erase
know
that.
some Snyder stans were probably like, "Ew, I can't believe Barbie made fun of us."
Yeah,
But
maybe that's the
yeah,
secret reason why people like Ben
yeah,
Shapiro hated it.
maybe,
Maybe Ben
maybe. But yeah,
Shapiro's
I
a
don't know.
Snyder stan.
Yeah, but I don't know. To compare it to the Lego movie, something like the Lego movie worked because I think we could both agree that movie is hilarious. But like the
Mhm.
actual the actual emotional core, I think relates to like the fact that it's Legos and all that stuff. Well, but when you try to relate the message of Barbie to the actual Barbie brand itself, I think that's what makes it confusing, at least to me. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Such a weird movie.
it
I
is.
wasn't even. I think this movie is really bad, but I don't even hate it. I was just so confused. Like,
Weird.
what the fuck happened?
It's so hard. It's so hard to
Hmm.
discuss it. Like, I'm really having a hard time with like putting my thoughts into words. I guess it's like weird, and like that scene with America Ferrera with the moral oral sacrifice speech. I think it felt a bit too the nose, a bit preachy. I understand why
It
people
was a
would
little
connect
on
to
the.
it.
You can have that message. Right? The fact that they literally brought a character in to spell all that out was a little much. It was a
Yeah,
little much.
it's no
Too
moral
much
oral
even.
sacrifice speech. Like, come on.
Uh, okay,
Yeah.
I think this movie would have been better if all the Kens were all the Kens were Clay and all the Barbies were Blueberta. Hear me out. That sounds good.
That would make it a 5 star. Maybe.
Okay, I would agree with everyone else if that happened, but
Yeah. I mean, if you
oh
connected to
well.
this movie, good for you. I'm not trying to stop you from connecting to it or anything. If you,
Uh,
I can understand it. There's some stuff here that I could see someone connecting to in terms of women's struggles,
mm,
but like I just really thought a lot of it could have been executed a lot better. Do you agree?
yeah, definitely could have, but
Yeah, it's also
oh
not
well.
subtle. I know a lot of people said
Yeah.
that, but like I prefer stuff like this with a little more subtlety to get the point across better. So like,
See, I think a movie can have a message because I love movies that like a lot of my favorite movies are things I find fascinating because of what they're saying. It I like things that can make me think a lot about certain issues and junk or whatever. But I don't know, something like Barbie. I feel like if you're just stating the message, it's less cool because like yeah I agree with what you're saying but also you need to be like a well constructed movie first and I don't even think I entirely agree with what Barbie's saying, at least it's how it executed it. It had good intentions but just how it spells some stuff out I'm not entirely a fan of, like we just talked about with the messaging and everything. So I don't know,
did find some stuff
it's
funny.
weird.
I guess we could go back to the comedic spectrum. Like, what jokes did you
uh,
find funny besides stuff like Alan
Mainly
and Ken moments?
uh there wasn't okay. I found the part where they call Barbie a fascist funny, but I thought that was a good joke. I was like,
I
what?
thought that was like such a weird way for someone to word something like that.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. I feel like
it
no
is a
one
weird
like
bit.
her age in real life would like say something like that to a grown woman who, in her
Mhm.
eyes, is probably just pretending to be Barbie. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just
So,
that scene just made me laugh because I thought it was like, I don't know, Barbie's a fascist.
yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but I could kind of understand the perspective in some way with them saying that the Barbie toys start set like standards for women and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like no person would like
Yeah.
word it that way, if you know what I mean.
Nah.
It's still fine.
Nah.
Anyway, I did like. I know Will Ferrell, like you said, is very similar to Lord Business in the Lego Movie, but I still found like his performance fun and his gang of
He
like.
does a he does a great job in this. I'm just like, okay.
I think that's.
I found
I
that a
just.
little okay. They would have, especially since I think these were both Warner brothers, I think. So I guess I think Barbie was. I'm not sure, but I know they were both like Will Ferrell had to have noticed. He's like, hey, wait a minute. I'm just playing the same actors over and over again. what kind of a Cartwright production is this? But you get the idea. I was like, okay, it
Yeah.
had to have been obvious to him. He does do a good job though. I was a fan of his line deliveries, even if I wasn't a fan of what he
Yeah. Well,
got really. But,
yeah. I don't think there's a single
yeah.
bad performance in the movie, if I'm being honest.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
Not really.
All the
Kind of has everything. Barbie's one of those movies where I think I like everything except for the story itself. It's like you're greatly directed, greatly acted. Even the music was alright, although I will say, when they did the opening, they really should have used Barbie Girl. That seems so obvious, but they didn't do it.
yeah.
It was annoying.
It was in the
They could have played
credits.
it. I would have. If they played it, I would have like clapped. It would have been like, it's the song.
The song
Touch your
from that one
screen, not
Family
the
Guy
feet.
episode.
Yeah, exactly. I would have been very happy, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it would be cool.
What did you think of
Uh,
the depressed Barbie ad?
uh
I thought that was
that
kind of
was
funny.
okay.
I don't know. I
Wasn't
had fun with this. I just
wasn't
had fun
as
with the
funny.
wacky concepts of how bizarre it could get, you know? But
Yeah.
I prefer this as a
I'm glad most people are
surrealist
having. Yeah,
comedy.
yeah. I'm glad most people are having fun with it. I think it's interesting more than it's fun, but it's definitely a fascinating movie if I have to say anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Barbie's
Also,
just weird. I had to use any word. It's just weird.
the
Very
bizarre. It's
confusing.
yeah. Anything else to say about the themes? You think? Anything else?
Um, no, I do find it kind of funny that when the Kens take over, they all just become film bros. Start talking about The Godfather
Oh yeah, I
and
thought
shit
that scene
like
was
that.
funny. I like
I
that.
thought that
I
was
like
kind
that.
of funny.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I don't know. The scenes where I feel like it just falls about part of it where like Ken
mm,
brings back the patriarchy. It falls apart like theme
yeah,
wise, though there's still a couple of funny jokes we get there despite
yeah,
that. But like it makes
I
me
just
just
think,
wish that this was a full on
yeah,
comedy.
yeah.
And
Also, just think it's a little weird how some people like are like, it's fine. Don't they're like make fun of people for saying that the movie's like offensive. But even though like I don't think there's a single male character in this movie whose joke isn't that he's stupid. Like I love Ken, but his main joke is that he's like
I
stupid
mean,
and
I
doesn't
sometimes
understand
laugh at
what's
it,
going
but
on.
yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from. I sometimes
Um,
laugh at that joke,
I
but
think I think it's weird how people don't entirely understand what it's coming for. But
if you
yeah, I don't
like
know.
it,
I
good
don't.
for you. There's definitely stuff here that I can understand
Mm,
someone relating to in a lot of ways, and there's definitely passion
mm,
behind it. So I don't, unlike the Mario movie, I am not furious about this movie reaching $1 billion. So
mhm.
yeah, I don't know. But I did at least enjoy it. So I guess that's what
Yeah,
mattered in the end. I had a fun theater experience. I would not hate watching it again, and it's
I
a fun
wouldn't, but
movie, right? Really? No. Eh,
I wouldn't hate watching it again. But I will want to actively.
yeah,
I
yeah.
could do without a
I'm
second
unsure if I
Barbie
would do
movie.
that, but I wouldn't like. I would get some laughs, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, get
It's
a
like
few.
even the stuff I dislike isn't really something that I full on hated, and I did enjoy most of the movie as like a comedy, like I said, with a fun set design, and there was a clear a lot of passion and effort put into it. So I could appreciate that, and I wouldn't really call this thing just a toy commercial. So I guess that's what,
Uh,
even though they did make merchandise off the movie, but so did the Lego movie. I
mhm.
got some Lego movie sets, but
Yeah.
same. I definitely think that I think it's obvious, like, easily, the Lego movie is like 10 times better in nearly every way,
Um,
obviously, but,
yeah. I will
so,
say I do kind of want to know what the kind of like did Greta Gerwig like have the Barbie movie idea first? Or like we need a Barbie movie. Let's get the director of Little Women and Lady Bird. Like I want to know what the thought process was there.
yeah. That's
Also,
why I was interested in watching it. So, like, what are they gonna
I
do
think
with this?
they got Baumbach on this.
Yeah, Noah Baumbach
Noah
wrote it, and,
Baumbach.
like, I feel like,
To be fair, he's already has a weird filmography. He's the Madagascar 3 guy as well.
oh
Don't forget
yeah,
about that.
yeah, he co-wrote a Madagascar movie. Like, just look at his
Fuck his
all the movies he's written, and then you just see Madagascar 3 out of
fuck,
nowhere.
Noah Baumbach's filmography is so weird. He has Marriage Story, then two Wes Anderson movies, and the Meyerowitz Story starring Adam Sandler, and then Madagascar 3, and then Barbie. Such a weird
I know,
series of things.
interesting.
And,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I had a fun time with this movie. I think Oppenheimer's better, but I won't talk about that. I'll talk about
You
that
better
another
not.
day. Another day, 2023 video. Check that out. You're gonna have to wait a
Okay.
couple months. So there.
All right. I hope
Honestly,
Oppenheimer does. Hold on. I hope Oppenheimer doesn't bomb. You get.
it's already doing well. Don't worry, it's not gonna bomb.
Oh, good, good. I will say, I don't want to bring it back to Barbenheimer. However, I do think solo Oppenheimer memes are way funnier than solo Barbie memes.
I
Because
mean, yeah,
Oppenheimer, and people have made edits of like, because Josh Peck's in it. I've seen edits of Drake and Josh stuff over
yeah.
like
One last
bomb
thing,
scenes
one
in
thing I want to bring up
Oppenheimer.
about Oppenheimer with Josh Peck is that I didn't notice like right when I watched it that he was like in it, but then I searched up
Oh.
afterwards and I was like, oh, that was him. Because there's a lot of characters in
Oh.
Oppenheimer, like a lot of
Okay.
them, so it's hard to like confuse. Like Devin
Well, I'm
Bostic
the
was in this movie, Roderick. Like, how did I miss that? But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I'm the number one Josh Peck stan because I'm the number one Drake and Josh stan, so I'm sure I would notice
yeah.
him.
So we're kind of
Yeah,
obligated to talk about this movie at some point. So,
but yeah,
but yeah, we'll
maybe we
save it.
could do another Drake and Josh episode someday.
Yeah, include
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
yeah, sounds great
Yeah,
actually.
maybe. Anyways, go check out
Hmm.
Oppenheimer. Go check out Barbie. Go check out whatever movie you
No,
want.
don't check out Barbie, but
If you want, you could wear.
don't check and most importantly, do not check out Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day.
Yes, you can.
Include an in between. Too
I mean, I
much.
guess so. It depends. I don't know. You could, if you could see either of these movies, you don't need to wear a dress code. You could dress up in blue. You could dress up in red. You could dress up in green, even though it's not a creative color. But you could dress up in
Just as
anything you want.
brown, a Superman color,
Just wear
brown.
anything, okay? Just go see whatever you want. I had a fun time with this movie. Also, I just got something completely wrong. I realized I said earlier that the person who created Barby was the narrator, but I don't think it was, so my bad.
Now she was the the elderly one, right?
Yeah,
I think
that was the
yeah, yeah,
creator of Barbie who was still there.
yeah,
It was based on. It's a
older.
true story. I don't know much about the actual story of the creation of Barbie, but yeah, go listen to I'm Just Ken. It's a banger. Go watch this movie. You might have a good time with
It's
it.
a little overhyped, but it is pretty good.
Yeah, watch it. You can watch it if you want. You might like it, but and we respect you for that. Okay, we respect people who like this movie despite our issues, our many issues with
Kind of
it.
do. Yeah.
Should we get to our ratings? I know your rating is much
Yeah.
more negative
Yeah.
than me. I gave
Yeah,
it.
I think this movie's so you can go first. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this movie. I've thought a lot about it. I have a hard time rating it because of all that happens in it, and it's like a weird movie. But fuck it, it's sort of ish a guilty pleasure. I mean, I kind of struggle to say that since so many people unironically think this movie's like
Nah, it
amazing.
is a guilty pleasure.
Sort
You
of,
just gotta admit that.
yeah. But I'm gonna give it a fun 6 out of 10. You could argue me, but it's a fun movie. What about you?
Um, I think this movie is really bad. However, I don't hate it. I just think, listen, you can have all the style, all that stuff you want, but I think if you're just like if you're this like weirded out at like the core, I think it balances out. So I'm gonna go a high 3 out of 10 on this one.
Really?
Bayformers one was better. Yeah, that's my take of the day.
Eh.
Okay, listen, did Barbie have an Optimus speech?
Yeah, that's true. That's the one thing that's better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one thing about that movie that is much better than this movie.
Yeah.
It ain't
There,
no
I got you there.
Optimus speech. I'll give it that. Or a Linkin Park song. If this movie had a Linkin Park
Yeah.
song or an Optimus speech, maybe we would have
Ooh,
been
that-
more generous towards it.
this is also my hot take, but this is the worst out of the 3 movies we're discussing in this episode. But that's kind of a loaded question.
Sorta. It kind of depends. These movies are like all bizarre, so like I can't blame you for thinking it's the worst. I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't hate you for that. So, but yeah, I guess so. But the way you were talking about it made it seem like it was more of a 4 or even 5. But
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't hate it. I just think it's it's kind of terrible depending on how you look at it. I just wasn't a fan.
Even the themes of this movie, while like weirdly executed, aren't something that actively pissed me off. Though it was something I
find it
disliked at
confusing.
areas. And so, anyways, yeah, watch it if you want, I guess, or watch Oppenheimer, or Mission Impossible. But anyways,
But go
let's.
see Dead Reckoning. Don't do Barbenheimer. Just go watch Dead Reckoning, just
Yeah,
please.
they need your support. I
I
watched
want this movie to be saved. If fucking Elemental is making a comeback, then Dead
no.
Reckoning should be able to.
Yeah, or you could watch the new TMNT or the Meg 2, even though I haven't seen any of those movies yet.
That is true.
Yeah,
Could
watch
do
what
that.
you want. You don't even need to wear pink. Just wear whatever. You don't need that
That's
dress
also
code.
true.
Anyways, let's get to Freaked. We'll talk
Okay,
about Freaked.
Freaked.
This is a
I
weird.
just want to say I fucking love this movie.
Pretty
Like I
good
know
movie.
this
Fun
big
movie.
change of tone. I love this.
It's so
This
weird
is
to go from this movie to this movie. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, such a I don't know. So for a little backstory,
Yeah.
this was. You want to explain how I found this movie? Because I
Yeah,
kind of
because you might.
Okay.
If you're watching this, you might have not heard of this movie. You might.
Yeah, it's a
not.
little
It's
bit
a-
of an underground
Yeah, it was
hit.
released in
So
theaters,
basically,
but it did not do well at all.
it did off. I'm gonna pull up the exact stats now while I tell my story. So basically, so I had not heard of this movie until a channel called Red Letter Media did a video. I think I've brought them up once or twice on this pod before.
Yeah,
maybe
even in this video.
Yeah, I did earlier this video, yeah. But some Red Letter Media, I was like, oh, and I watched the review of it, and I'm like, oh, this movie looks interesting. What is this? So then I look on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, Freaks on YouTube, and then I watch it, and I'm like, okay, this movie's amazing. Well, maybe not amazing, but I really like it. And then I'm like, I need more people to watch this, so I got you to watch it, and then eventually got a couple of my other friends to watch it. And yeah, I'm like the freaked guy because I really maybe more than I should, but I love this movie. It was made by Alex Winter, who you might know as it was in the Bill and Ted films. That was his biggest role before this.
Yeah.
I believe he had his other thing on MTV called Liquid Television. From memory, that was his other big thing. So he was able to make this for Fox. This is a Disney movie, so just a quick reminder, I find that funny. But yeah, he made this, and it did horribly, even worse than most films. So it had a $12 million budget, and the box office was $29,000.
Holy cow!
Bad.
Not even $1 million.
Not even 100,000.
Not even
Just
100,000.
29,000. That's
Wow.
so sad.
Yeah, no wonder no one remembers
And
this movie.
so then it only had, I believe it had a VHS release briefly. I believe it got a DVD and Blu-ray, but they're long out of print, so you can barely find this movie, except for on YouTube where it's for free. Because Fox doesn't want to claim this movie. They don't care. They don't want this movie. Disney for sure does not want this movie as a part of their legacy. You know what? It sucks. I really hope this movie gets some sort of good release in the future. Maybe a nice Blu-ray, a Criterion would be really funny. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I do hope it does, because this is whether you like it or don't like it, it's for sure an interesting movie. You can never go out of this being I was bored. Because the movie's not boring. Every single second there's something happening, down to the opening credits that are animated in this really weird style,
But
and
it looks
rock music is
amazing.
blaring
Looks
in your
great.
ears. It looks so cool.
This movie looks very interesting visually. All the makeup is
Yeah.
great. Spoilers. I don't want to spoil people because I have
man.
because I think a lot of people probably haven't seen it, and I would like you to go in this
Yeah.
movie blind.
I
So.
love these. If you went into this blind, not knowing anything, you're gonna love it. It's
Yeah, that's
such a
fine.
cool
That's what
movie.
happened with me when I first saw it. So.
Yeah, but then you go into it right, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, the production design is so good. It came out at really the perfect time, because let me find the exact. So the release date we were in 1993, late '93, which was kind of the last time there could be a movie like this, because '93 was the year of Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park was kind of the turning point where CGI had its big advent in technology, and everything was moving over to computer generation. So Freaked would not have all of its practical effects if it came out years later, which I'm really happy about, because if they did this with early 90s CGI, the movie would look awful if they tried doing most of these effects digitally.
Yeah.
But no, it all looks amazing. All the big sets, the actual Freaked attraction that they're at, it looks amazing. All the different practical effects for all the different creatures and everything. It all looks amazing.
It
My
all
favorite
looks great,
creature
yeah.
is I love Sockhead. He's my favorite of the creatures.
Oh yeah, he's great. I also I
Oh,
also
and
like
the bearded lady.
yeah, the
She's
bearded
great.
lady, he's great. Or she, we can't assume
Well,
that,
yeah,
obviously.
she's
I
great.
like
But
I like I like the nose guy with the big ass nose, Nosy the nose man.
yeah, I like the worm too.
Yeah,
Forget
the
about
worm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
and Ortiz, the dog boy,
who's
played
played
by
by
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves, who he's much better in this movie than he is in fucking Matrix 4.
That's
So
true.
like, let's be honest.
Better than
He's
he is
having
in
a
John Wick 4.
you know
So,
what? Sure, he is. He's having a blast
yeah.
in this movie.
At first, I was confused as why he was in this, but I realized that's the Bill and Ted connection. They were both
Oh yeah,
together in
that's
those movies.
true. And
Yeah,
he
this
does a
movie
good
just kind
job in
of
this
pops
movie.
in and out at random
Yeah,
points. And
he's
he's
trying hard
great.
here. He definitely sells the dog boy act here.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and I overall just like the wacky cast of freaks, such as I like the
Oh yeah.
cowboy, I like the worm, like you said, I like the big toad guy, how the freak maker likes
Yeah,
works
played by
with this
Randy
toad.
Quaid. He's great.
Yeah, he does a
Yeah.
great job. Performances in general just great. There's a lot of solid jokes. Like well, let's talk about some of our favorite jokes, such as when the freaks are all sitting down giving their tragic backstory to the main character. Then we just randomly cut to a wrench turning into a hammer. I thought that
That
was
part's
really
so
funny
funny.
for some.
It's so brief. He just like
It just
looks at
randomly
him.
it
and
cuts to that randomly, and also censoring
oh no, I
spoilers.
love the bearded ladies thing where they come in and then the main guy's like, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a woman? And then they just cut immediately, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
And they come back to, I like woman, I like me. It's a great, classic character.
Yeah.
It's a great.
I also like I also what did you I also thought it was funny that I also like the kid who always gets like beat up and just thrown through windows and shit. And then like he becomes and then the ending where the main character Ricky and the kid end up becoming these giant monsters and end up fighting. I thought that part was really funny. It's yeah, it's easily the highlight of it. And overall, the film just has like looks really good from a technical standpoint, and yeah, it all just looks great visually. So I'll give it that. It just looks great. It's good, great part of it.
It kind of reminds me of that the kids running gag. It kind of bring it up in the Freddy Got Fingered discussion, but it reminded me of something there with the same type of gag where the kid constantly
Yeah,
gets
I was gonna bring that up. No, these films both have kids that get endlessly tortured and everyone pretty much just hates them in some way.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
This movie does it better, I think. I love the joke where he gets he jumps through the glass door. And then he's just on the airplane for some reason, and then the payoff near the
yeah, like I said, the glass
freak design is great too. I love that.
Yeah,
but,
all of it. It's just funny. I don't think the story is amazing or anything.
Yeah, this is why I say this is one of my. This is kind of a funny thing to say. Freaked is one of my favorite movies. I think, however, it is the least good movie that is one of my favorite movies. I have to give.
It's a good movie. Wait, you there? Oh, crap.
This movie.
Sorry about this, guys. This happens sometimes. Just hard work of working on a podcast. There we go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well now.
Fuck, we were so good these last couple. But anyway, I like what I was gonna say was, and the main thing is with this movie, in parts, it kind of falls flat, but not then because it has emotional elements to it, but I don't think it works because it's the whole thing's stupid. Do I really care about this? I don't think I do. But
yeah, it's it's not really a great story. I'd say.
Yeah,
it's like a fine story, and I guess
I don't know. Really, it's just kind of a setup for us to get to the Freak Factory.
Yeah, there isn't really much of a plot.
There are great jokes before that. I love the hallway of businessmen who they're like they use their hands as like
I
puppets and
love
like
that joke.
move around.
I like the manager guy, just basically these innocent old men that just look depressed, and then he just like raises their hand. It's like he
All
just
in favor.
controls everything. That was funny. I love that joke.
Ricky Coogan, the main guy, he like pretends to be in like a cast for some
Just
reason.
just
So
to
like
pick up this woman who ends up becoming
yeah,
like a
and
main
so also
character
the
later on.
activist bit is so oh yeah, and then the activist is like stapled to Ricky's best friend, who's incredibly misogynistic, and they just punch each other. It's such a funny bit.
Yeah,
It's
funny
so
dynamic.
stupid.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like um like all just the
Mm.
stupid wacky characters we see. Like there's not a plot for most of the
Yeah.
movie. I do like the worm,
Mm.
and I like how near the ending of the movie where the Ricky can't get like the formula to turn to like fix him into becoming a good freak monster, so he could like
Mm.
stop him from killing all of his other freaks. So instead, he just picks up
Mhm.
macaroons, and there's like a payoff to that later that ends up turning it back into
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
into freaks. I like that little detail, and I like the worm
Well,
staying just staying a worm because he just
yeah,
hates macaroons that much.
yeah. Also, fuck, we can neglect to mention the iconic milkmen gag,
Oh, I love that.
which is
They all just
that.
dress up as milkman, and I'm just like wondering where the fuck did they get all of that milkman outfits?
Yeah.
I like how in that
Well,
scene the Keanu Reeves dog boy ends up just running away, and ends up returning in the ending of the movie. That's
yeah.
funny. Honestly,
Nah,
Keanu
it's so
Reeves does a
funny. They're
great
like,
job in this movie. He's having a
yeah,
blast.
yeah.
So
There's a couple milkmen's fine, but more than that, it's too much. Too much. Apparently, it's
yeah,
incredibly unrealistic. But yeah.
yeah, I like
Also,
that.
there's this other joke where the randomly when the guy comes in, they do this random game show bit, and it's like, who is the main star of Exorcist 2, The Heretic? It's such a random name drop. That part
No,
made me laugh a
weird
lot.
ass
It's too
movie. I
stupid.
haven't even seen any of the Exorcist movies, and I found that funny for some reason.
Yeah, such a random joke. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's simple, and I also like the ending with
Yeah.
the guy who runs the freak show ends up like falling into this vat that
Mhm.
turns him into a monster, and the monster is just the newswoman that we see in the opening of the movie.
Mhm.
I thought was funny, even though this was it's really surreal with its humor, which is why I find it
Yeah,
funny.
definitely. This is my thing. I love stupid shit like this. I have a blast with this movie.
Yeah,
Like I said, not much of like, there's not much of a story there. But I think for something like this, I think it works well enough.
yeah, and like I said, I really like the
you get all the good gags.
sock guy,
Oh
and
yeah,
how he's
Sock.
like, he
Yeah,
just like,
I love him. He's
yeah, I
so
like
good.
how he dies like at the end of the movie in a very dramatic
Yeah.
scene. That was like, I just
Mm.
it's so random. I also like how,
Right.
in general, the props here and how they like make each freak was done really well.
Yeah,
It's sad
honestly,
that this
this
movie
movie
never
just kind
got
of
the attention it
it's such a
deserved.
marvel for me to look at. That's kind of why I like it so much. It's like, wow, what a
Yeah,
movie! It's
yeah, it's
so
not really like
cool.
something
Such a cool
I've never
movie.
seen. Are you surprised that I can't say I'm too surprised that this movie like did take off as it did?
Oh
Um,
no, see, this is the type of thing I think could be a cult classic. However, it was really hard to because listen, this was a stupid movie that wanted to be a hit with general audiences in the early 90s, and like it was just such a bad like timing for it. Plus 93 was a big year for movies. A lot of stuff was that year. So it just kind of didn't have a chance. It was like Jurassic Park, like we mentioned, Nightmare Before Christmas, Groundhog Day, which we also talked about on a previous
yeah, we've talked
episode.
about a lot of good comedies here.
Yeah, I kind of forget we did the Groundhog Day episode, to be honest. But, there's all those. And point it was just it was really kind of a lot was working against it. I think if it came out later, it could have built up that cult classic
Yeah,
status. However, it's kind of been censored from existence because all the cult this V8 all we have is VHS release, a DVD, a Blu-ray that I think would be really a bitch to get a hands on. And Disney could re-release it if they want, but I don't think they want to. That is
yeah,
the main thing.
but
So really, that sucks. However, I have made it. I've sort of tried to build a Freaked cult following. I was hoping. But, oh
Yeah,
well.
I've seen this movie multiple times. So like yeah, and I think it's just a fun movie, you know? The story ain't anything amazing, like there isn't really it kind of just stops in the middle. Like there isn't much
Yeah.
like
A lot
um
of when they actually get to the freak attraction, it's a lot of stopping so we can get gags. Except for a few times we cut back to Stewie Glick, who's getting child abused
yeah,
while he tries to find where Ricky Coogan
and
is.
they have just
But
this
other than
weird
that,
connection that I find funny for
yeah,
yeah, and they like
she's
have
his
this
number 1 fan.
yeah.
Yeah, we had him.
I also like the
Yeah.
villain and how he ends up killing his fellow business partners that he was teaming up with to make a freak land
Yeah.
based off of the fertilizer that the main character was sent to
Mhm.
promote. So yeah, just a
Yeah,
fun movie, honestly. It's just a hard movie to
great,
hate. It's like
great old
it's just
time.
something like you know, you could tell there was a lot of effort put into making it, and I feel like everyone had a good time like recording it,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
like yeah,
I would love to know behind the scenes for this movie. The problem is it's just too
probably
small
not
that
anyway. Yeah. I kind of wish more
it
people would pay
actually
attention to
happened.
this
But
movie. But oh well, I'm glad that we at least got you at least got to recommend this movie to multiple people that we know. So that's
yeah.
nice. Um, honestly, I kind of want to say more, but I don't know if I have that much more to say. It's pretty, like I said, there isn't really that much that goes on. Um, I like the entire climax where both when like I said, both of the characters, like the kid and the main character Ricky Coogan, both become these gigantic freak monsters and beat the shit out
Mhm.
of each other. I thought that's really funny. And it overall just
Yeah.
it looks hideous, but like in a good way. So in a clearly
Yeah.
intentional way.
Yeah.
So like damn, I almost want to know how they were able to craft all these sets and
I want
whatnot.
to know because fuck the main character Ricky the whole that stuff. I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah, I'm
And like
impressed.
there's such. It's not even just like the costume design, this big sets and everything. I want to know. Really, the sad thing is, I bet all that stuff's been like destroyed. I bet none of it is existing now.
Yeah.
But I really wish it did. But oh well,
Yeah,
oh well.
we got a good laugh out of it. There's a lot of good
Good old
jokes.
time,
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
jolly
Really
good.
hard for me to hate. It's just, yeah,
Definitely not
probably
for
my
me.
favorite
And
movie out of all the ones that we're talking about today.
oh no, it's definitely for me. I adore this movie. I do kind of. The thing is, I really wish it could be a bigger hit. Like maybe if they just put it on Disney Plus. Like I know, and it's not even because they're like, "Wow, we can't do R-rated content." Like, bros, you there's even R, but they like risque content. Like, bros, you put Always Sunny in Philadelphia on Disney Plus. There's no excuse now. Just let the floodgates open. Ad freaked. Just come
Yeah,
on. I
and
really wanted to have that cult following, but it's kind of impossible to give it some bigger success.
yeah,
But
that's
oh
true.
well,
It's
that
known as a
sucks.
little classic that I might want to revisit every now and again. I also
I
like how they did
definitely
a lot
will.
of other stuff, like how the main character is like half of this gremlin goblin
Yeah,
thing, and how he
yeah, because the
casting
serum
for
only half
Gremlins
works.
3.
We get to
Yeah, I
it's
like the
God,
scene where
great.
he makes like I like the scene where he just like recreates this like opera thing or whatnot, and then this guy
Oh
just
yeah.
like makes a fourth wall break and says, "For those who don't know, this man is is the
Yeah.
fourth wall break." I found that was funny. Yeah. A
Mhm.
lot of good jokes here, you know. I get a good laugh out of it, especially the milkman scene and the fact that the main villains henchmen are just like these giant walking eyeballs along with this toad
Oh
creature.
yeah. Those effects are really good too. That part's so
Yeah,
weird.
so
Yeah.
it's weird and bizarre, but it works really well, and it clearly has a self-awareness, despite parts of the story not working amazingly or
Mhm.
anything. But overall, yeah, I also don't really buy the romance that Ricky has with the girl.
Oh no, it's super
I
underdeveloped.
know,
Which is
but who cares? Honestly, who
yeah.
cares in a movie
This
like
is a
this?
fun movie.
Yeah, I think I'm
Do you have
ready
any
to.
much more additional notes? I think we gotta
I
cover
don't really. I
trash
would like to
stuff.
say more, but there really isn't much to say. It's just a funny movie
Yeah.
with a lot of
Um.
creative, ambitious set props that work
mm,
really well. So I think I'm
Yeah.
ready to get into my ratings.
If anything, I will say, like I plugged that video. I would highly recommend that Red Letter Media video on Freaked. It's a
Yeah.
great analysis of it.
I think the Nostalgia
I love
Critic
it.
also made a video on it, so
Oh my
there's
god,
also
did he?
that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he
Um,
did. I searched
oh my
up
god, I didn't even
Nostalgia
know about
Critic
it.
Freak.
Oh wait, no, hold on. I think I know because I've seen that stupid thumbnail of it. Yeah, okay, I have. Yeah, I remember this video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, this
It wa-
video. The thumbnail's so. Hold on,
Anyways,
Anthony. Could you put this image of Doug Walker combined with the freaked face on the thumbnail
I
when
don't
you
know if
make
I
it,
maybe.
please?
Maybe I'll put this
Thank
up in the
you.
background.
Thank
We'll
you.
see.
But yeah, you know what? I think this is very, very hot, not hot take, but because I've admitted this before, but this is one of my favorite movies we've discussed on the podcast. And you know what?
Really?
I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Fantastic.
I'm gonna give
Not,
it
maybe not, but I love it a
I'm gonna
lot.
give it a solid 7 out of 10. Pretty good movie.
Definitely fair.
Yeah,
Uh,
not amazing in my opinion, but still a movie I enjoyed nonetheless, and I didn't mind
mhm.
revisiting it again for this episode. So yeah, solid. Go check it out if you haven't, which I'm assuming. I mean, you might have. It depends. If you watch this segment or not? I don't know. I don't know how you watch these episodes. Anyways,
Mhm.
let's get into our final movie of the day.
Daddy, would you like
Freddy
some
Got
sausage?
Finger.
Would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
This movie.
Sausages, sausages. Welcome. This is Freddy Got Fingered.
What a bizarre movie, honestly.
Okay.
So you might have heard this movie as such a all over the place,
It has a reputation. Some
surreal
people love it.
experience.
Some people hate
Hate
it.
it, really
Uh,
hate it. Some people really love it. Hate it. It's a
which,
very
by the way,
divisive movie.
yeah, I always did a plug, and I hear like, don't talk about other YouTubers. This isn't even me roasting. I just want to recommend it. I want to recommend Phantom Strider's Freddy Got Fingered review and his worst movies of all time thing, because he called this the worst movie ever made, and I'm like, well, no, but his segment's
Nah.
really funny because he sounds genuinely mad, which most of the time he doesn't sound mad at anything. So it's an interesting segment. I didn't mean that as a roast. I just think it's a thing to plug. But anyway, the actual film itself, Freddy Got Fingered, is such a weird movie.
It is
It doesn't
insane.
have structure. Doesn't follow the typical studio comedy wavelengths. It doesn't feel like it's a parody because it's just it's so
It is
muddled.
just
It's
genuinely
a weird movie.
insane.
That being said, I do love it though.
Yeah, I don't hate
But
this movie at all. So
to
I don't think it's
quote,
like the
okay,
funniest movie ever, but but
it
it's
has its
something that
look,
I laugh at
but
more
it does
than I
have its
should.
highs. So,
Yeah.
so I watched this on rewatch. I watched this with two friends because that'd be funny. Two friends of the podcast, Xander and Josh. And we had a great. Well, me and Xander had seen it before. Josh had not. So for a lot of it, I was like, "Oh my god, this scene! I love this part. Oh my god, I love this part. Love this part," because this movie has very distinct scenes in my mind. From the very first scene, where our titular character Gord Brody,
The main
played by the
protagonist.
Chad Tom Green, is sitting there with his X-Ray Cat comic, the X-Ray Cat bit, which is a
You can
great
see
bit,
for
by the way.
wood walls.
Yeah, and then we get the iconic opening scene where he's skateboarding through a mall, right? And you get to see his iconic skateboarding scene, which I don't know if that's parody or not, but I find it so stupid. They're like, all right,
Yeah,
this
and
is
then they
Tom
just try
Green's
to be
badass
so
opening.
cool. And it's so
Hmm.
funny seeing just
Yeah,
skateboard
because
through a
Tom
mall.
Green, he's cool. Yeah, I kind of look up to him in a way, but
There's just something so fascinating about this character and how insane and psychotic he
yeah,
is. Like in the
his
opening,
first scene is
yeah,
yeah,
at first,
he does this thing where he's driving through the mall, but then after that, the opening's really weird. By the way, once he gets there, his parents show up. Which, by the way, I find Gordon's mom I find really funny, but not because her character. It's because she also plays the love interest in
oh
Airplane,
yeah,
which
she
I noticed.
does.
Which I
Yeah,
noticed, and I was like, it's her, which I found really funny. But then it's so weird. So his brother, who's actually named Freddy, despite being called Freddy Got Fingered, they don't actually focus on Freddy getting fingered a lot. Kind of an
it's
understated
just a
aspect
random
of the
thing
film.
that's thrown into the end when they just
Yeah,
shift perspective. I did find it
he's a
fun.
molester. He's a child molester. Yeah,
Spoilers
the
of
whole.
this movie. Just
Mhm.
going in blind. Just do that.
No,
I
no,
have
you
no.
know what? Normally, I say don't care about spoilers, But go in blind. This is a movie you should know
Yeah,
nothing
you're not
about.
gonna
So,
expect such a scene where Gord breaks into the hospital and then he just like delivers a baby and then he swings around its extension cord and
And then the two ladies start playing tambourines for some
yeah,
reason.
that was so confusing. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? It is such a weird
And then
movie.
for some reason, when the baby actually gets out, it says they try to make it a nice bit, which I think is a joke, but still
Yeah, he also likes shaking the
weird.
horse's thing in that one scene. And don't forget the
Review
elephant.
of a, nah, oh
Don't
yeah.
forget
To
that.
quote my review of Freddy Got Fingered, I would describe this film as a 35% Tom Green being a genius, 35% Tom Green doing random shit because he finds it funny, 25% the character of Gord Brody ruining people's life by being prime literally me material, and 5% child abuse and horsecock. Uh, which is by the way, that scene is so weird because there's no reason for it. He's driving by, he notices the horse, he notices the horse's cock, he runs over, and then jerks off to the horse cock. It's so weird.
It's
Why does he do
so
that?
what is
What's
wrong?
going on?
It's just nonsense. And usually I don't like movies that are just nonsense, but there was something so fascinating of how nonsensical it is in this
See, I
movie.
want to call this movie like a genius, and I only can call it half that because there are some scenes in this movie where our titular Gord Brody has no compass. He does whatever he wants. For example, there's that scene where he does that. Then there's the scene right after where he's working in a sausage factory, and for some randomly he starts pulling out a giant sausage and pretends it's his
The
dong.
cheese sandwich factory with
Dong.
sausages, actually.
Okay, well, you get the okay.
Yeah, I
Thank you
know.
for correcting me. But you get the. It's such a. He does that for no reason, and then there's the
And then no
restaurant
one
bit.
addresses it.
No, okay,
Oh, the
yeah. Then there's the
restaurant
restaurant
scene
bit,
is so
and after
funny.
that, for some reason, he's in a police uniform for some reason. And he's fooling around. See, Gord Brody, the character, just does things. He has no what. He has a motive. He wants to become a successful artist, but he doesn't really do anything to further his motive. He kind of just does things.
Yeah,
He
I think
like
he wants to be a cartoonish. He wants to make a show, and he wants to pitch it to this guy who thinks that he needs to get inside the animals, which he does in
Oh
one
yeah,
scene.
the deer carcass. That part's so good.
And
He's
then
like he
they
needs to
play
get
the song
inside
"Perfect
the animal.
Harmony," which is like really
Which a
bizarre
fun
music.
fact, I've heard that might be an actual deer carcass.
Oh
Like
God, damn,
it,
interesting.
yeah. See, to give a little backstory for why this movie is the way it is. Tom Green built his career off of shock value. He had a show called The Tom Green Show, where he basically like Borat. It was kind of like that, but before Borat, it was Tom Green. He'd go up to real people and he would just fuck with them for shock value. Sitting in that trip. So and he was weirdly enough, he was a really big name in the early 2000s. Tom Green. He was also in Clone High, which was a year after this. So he was kind of this is the early 2000s were peak Tom Green. Watch Clone High, by the way. The original show is amazing. But anyway, so the point is Tom Green had this reputation. He was really big. So they were like, all right, you know what? We're gonna give you a movie. And the movie they gave him was Freddy Got Fingered. But they trusted Tom Green so much. Tom Green got to do whatever Tom Green wanted. And this is whatever Tom Green wanted, which is why there's no structure, there's no nothing. This is Freddy Got Fingered, and it's madness. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a lot
it's
of
just an
great scenes in this movie, such as the classic scene where he's getting ready for like a date or whatever, and he pretends to have a
Mhm.
job by tricking his dad, and then he just puts on his suit backwards and says in the mirror that he's the backwards man.
Yeah, oh, I love the backwards
Genius
man.
scene. And there's also the
Yeah,
scene where he ends up trying to think more about the characters, and then he starts playing on a piano while eating, while playing music, and
if you
while
excuse me, I have some work to do. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some
he
sausage?
also has a
Sausage?
girlfriend who gets a huge, who's paralyzed and gets a huge
Because
kick
it has a
out of getting
pain
her,
salad,
yeah,
but only in the knees for
only in
some
the
reason.
knees part because she's paralyzed.
Yeah,
So
which is such a weird bit. They try to make her the emotional core, but that the part's entirely just a farce.
I
Her
know.
first scene is ask Gord to whip her legs, and he does that.
It's
Then she
so
actually whips her head, and then her response to being whacked in the face is giving Gord a blowjob. for some reason.
What is wrong with this movie?
Which is a very weird bit,
What
but
the?
you know what? It's great. I
This
think it's
movie
great.
is so bizarre. And also mention the
Yeah,
kid who
honestly,
gets
yeah.
just
Oh
gets
my god, yeah. It's
so
such a funny. It shouldn't be funny at all. I feel so bad for laughing, but it's so funny. So the first bit, right, is their what is okay? So Gord, he opens his car and he gets hit with the car door. Then him and his dad are at the restaurant and he gets hit with glass. So naturally, what's the third payoff? How does this extend even further? Oh, of course, he gets chopped up by a jet turbine and blood hits an entire audience.
then he says
But
he's okay.
that's the funny part. He's like, "I'm okay, Daddy." Somehow
Nothing
that's.
happened. Like
And by the way, the movie ends right after that. For the record,
yeah, that's the ending of the movie. And also, the ending of the movie is so bizarre because after Gord gets a check for $1 million after pitching his cartoon about zebras
which,
in
by the way, that part's
America.
kind of meta. They're like I think that's Tom Green commenting, "Oh, we got a check to make this."
Yeah, and then he just like he uses it to buy a helicopter, he uses it to buy jewels, and then he also uses it to take his house to to fucking where did it go again?
Pakistan.
Pakistan, yeah,
Yeah,
Pakistan, which is
that's
foreshadowed
also when the
early in the movie.
elephant come bit happens.
Yeah,
Don't know if
that too. And then they end up like being stranded there by like a village, and then they come back near the end of it, reunite. It's such a bizarre ending, which is fitting for this movie. So yeah, and then it also cuts to Freddy in the nursing home or whatever the hell he is with a bunch of other kids, and he has grown a beard, so he is still there.
Oh,
So like that part is like weird. So he ends up like saying that his dad is a child molester who
he's
molests
a
his
molester.
son.
He's a child molester.
Then he jumps
Which
out a
is such a
fucking
weird
window
part.
during the therapy
Yeah.
scene, and then Freddy ends up being taken to this like home place with a bunch of
Hmm.
sad kids. Like
Which is really weird. They just like for some reason they entirely take Gord's word for it. Freddy like denies it, but then they think he's denying it because it's repressed trauma or
oh
something.
no,
So,
yeah. Even though
no,
he's
and
like
then the
28
actual
years
mental
old.
ward is so weird. And there, for some reason, they play the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is playing on the TV, and it's like it's all children. It's such a weird. This
But
movie's really weird,
did
but I
we
think it's
mention?
great though. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so weird.
Oh,
I like the scene where I like the scene where Gord pretends to have a job about stock markets and stuff, and then he's like on a
yeah.
date uh with this girl, and then his dad is also there, and then he ends up pretending he's on a business call, and then he's all like, "You're fired, Bob! You're fucking fired!" I found that really funny for some reason because like how serious he is getting into this stupid act of pretending he has a job. Just
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
so dumb, but it's such a bizarre movie. It's so hard to put
also the
into
scuba
words.
gear bit.
This
Don't
yeah,
forget the scuba gear bit.
yeah,
That's a
that just comes out of nowhere when he just does shit. He just does shit, and then there's sometimes he wants to animate things and start a show about zebras in America with this crappy
mhm.
animation, and I feel like that's clearly intentional. Like you could tell that this movie
Yeah.
was made like on purpose to be this way, and some people think that this is really baffling and stupid, and some people say it's like the funniest shit ever. Well, I'm a mix of both here. I think it's really baffling and nonsensical and could get a bit tiring at times, but
See,
I
I would
also
love to
think
give
it's
this
really,
movie.
really, it could be really, really funny for
I'd
some.
love to give this movie all the credit in the world, but really, I'm conflicted on it because, okay, this movie is really funny sometimes. It has really good jokes. I laughed a lot. However, I think entirely this movie has no structure. And some of it I think is just, oh, Tom Green's fucking with people. But some of it I think is just, it's funny because the horse cock bit, right? It's
Yeah,
just kind of, like you mentioned, it's so random. And if for me, it's like, did Tom Green do that because he wanted to fuck with people, or does he just think horse cocks are funny? Like, it's such a I have that conflicted emotion in my because definitely parts of this movie are parody. This movie's like a parody of like dumb shit like this. It's like I think so because some of it's like the joke of the kid getting beat up a bunch. I think that's supposed to be parody because the whole thing is that it's like there are gags in movies that are just a character gets hurt,
Yeah.
but they take that to the nth degree because it's a child and it's such extreme forms of abuse. I think that's what the gag is supposed to be. But yeah, there's just other bits that just happen randomly, like the scuba gear bit. Did Tom Green think that out, or did he think it'd be funny to have Gord Brody be in scuba gear inside of his shower for some reason?
Yeah, he
Like,
also thought it
was
was
there motive behind
hilarious.
that, or was he just doing it because it was funny? I think it's a mix of both, but either way, it's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
So
We
I don't
also
know.
have the pregnant woman scene where he
Oh yeah, we mentioned that.
probably
Yeah.
caused the baby like trauma, and the baby somehow gets out of it alive.
We need
What?
a sequel about the baby in
I
Freddy
wonder
Got
where
Fingered.
she is today.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's such a weird movie. Like, there's so many random as shit jokes. There's barely any structure. The titular Freddy Got Fingered thing doesn't even feel. It's just randomly thrown in for conflict, and like even
Yeah, it's so late in
Freddy's
the movie. Because really, Gord is really mad at his dad because his dad did reasonable things like taking down his pulley maneuver system or taking out the giant skateboard ramp that he
yeah.
puts in front of his house for some reason. But
Yeah, and he has been building it with this like friend that he just randomly has. And then he gets $1 million, and then he buys a bunch of stupid shit with it. I like how he uses the $1 million just to fuck with his dad. Like,
oh yeah, it's so funny.
oh,
Is it,
it's such a weird movie.
all that. This is a random bit, but one of my favorite jokes is in the beginning where so it's weird. So Gord's about to get on a bus because they bought him like plane tickets. But then
Yeah.
they're like, no, you're actually going in this new LeBaron. When they and Gord is like, well, I don't see two LeBarons, Freddy. And he does this whole thing where he's really weird about it, and that's supposed to be like a
Yeah, it's like a
weirdly
fucking
emotional bit.
5-year-old.
And then it has my favorite one of my favorite jokes in the whole movie where so Gord's driving by, he's driving in his LeBaron. I don't see two LeBarons, Freddy. But then he goes in and the first thing he a car's about to run into him and he goes, "Get the fuck out of the way." And then it says directed by Tom Green. It's one of the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
jokes.
I also
Because
like
it's
the
so
scene where he
stupid.
breaks into like the building to show like the guy he's pitching it to
Oh
his
yeah.
comment, his like stupid, his
Mhm.
little drawings, and then and then he just makes a joke about, makes like a fake lie about the guy's wife dying, and and then like
Yeah.
that's like an excuse for him to like go meet him and go to that restaurant. The scenes with him are funny, with him trying to pitch his like his drawings to the
Mhm.
guy, and him trying to rationalize his insanity. It's just
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, and so he just pulls out a gun. That part's
Yeah,
so
he just
weird.
pulls
He's
out a
like,
gun
and then for some reason the
some
other
of
guy
just
takes that
suicide
very
jokes.
casually that he pulled out a gun.
You don't need to kill
So
yourself, Gord. You just just the way
yeah,
he talks to him is really funny. I
was
see the
very
banana,
chill
Gord.
about it. I'll give him that.
It's really,
Very
this
casual.
movie is so dumb. I love this
Yeah.
movie. I don't know. I'm in
And
the middle on this one. I don't think it's like absolutely hilarious. It could be hilarious though a lot of the time, but I don't think it's like, it definitely don't think it's like terrible. I'm in the middle. I think
mm,
it's funny. It could be really funny.
I think it balances, but I do think it's fun. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
weird ass
I
movie
love
that's
it.
even hard to make a rating score. Do you even have anything else to say about it? Um,
Other than just specific jokes, I don't
Yeah,
have
I know with like the
much
Freaked and
really.
this segment, we've just been talking about specific jokes, but I think
But
that's like,
really, that's what you can do because it's such weird movies. You kind of have
yeah,
to.
there isn't much of a
Mm,
prominent like story because they're more
mhm,
like trying to deliver jokes at you. Same with Airplane, which I think
mhm.
is definitely better than both of
Yeah,
these movies. So yeah,
yeah.
but overall, what a movie! It's so hard. Like
Uh,
everything is just all over
I
the
think this
place.
discussion has talked me into liking it more, but
Same that I
I
think
still
about
don't
it.
know.
It's just
You
like it
know
was
what?
actually kind of
Mhm,
fun to revisit it again, and I forgot of how like how much random laughs I got out of it. So like
mhm,
it's really weird seeing Gord's relationships with people in his life, such as his dad, who ends up growing to hate him more and more. It's like
mhm.
I don't know. Gord is like
Yeah.
a very unhinged person. very
Mm-hmm.
interesting character that is not. And I think I'm gonna grow to appreciate this movie
And see,
more.
and so you can tell how mixed this movie is by if you look at the letterboxd average. Like, so it has a 2.9, but all the high ratings of the highest ratings are fives, ones, and sixes. So quite literally all around the board, there are ratings for this movie.
Exactly, because it's hard
Mhm.
to rate. You can like I could
Yeah,
understand someone loving this movie, and I could also understand someone hating it.
I
So
love it. I think. Like,
yeah, I could understand
like,
that. I could understand. Like, it all depends on the humor spectrum. And honestly, just placing this alongside other movies we've talked about today is a real challenge. Because it's unlike
mhm.
anything you've ever seen, and it's weird to compare it to stuff like fucking Barbie and Airplane,
Mhm.
Spaceballs, and all the other comedies we've talked about and whatnot, and just all the
Yeah.
movies in general. So,
It's an anomaly of a thing.
yeah.
You know what? I love it.
It's a fun movie. Go check it out if you want to. You might hate it, you might love it. You'll see. Well, you'll see. And I think we could get to our ratings. So
Yeah. I will go around the middle. This is a 6 out of 10, I
I'm gonna
think.
give this a 5 out of 10. It's a
I think it's
fun
because
movie
overall, I think it about because it's so.
with a
But
heart.
movie, it might not even be that good. But I do think it's very funny, and I do respect Tom Green a lot because he just kind of like, you know what, he wanted to just make a movie to fuck with people, and you know what, it worked. It fucked with the studio because they were so confused. It
Yeah.
fucked with critics because people hated it. Roger Ebert gave this a 0 on
Oh
his
damn.
scale. He thought it was the worst thing like ever. And
Wow.
you know what? Eh, no, it's not,
Yeah.
but it's interesting. So overall, if we're talking about comedies, we've talked about it's around 10 tier. You want our studio comedy like a tier list? It's around Seth MacFarlane's 10 tier. You
Okay.
know what?
Interesting.
Great. Well, you gave them both fives, so I guess you
I
agree.
guess that's true.
Is Ted
Anyway.
better than this? I don't.
I probably not, if I'm
Uh,
being honest. But anyways,
mhm.
yeah. I guess that's the episode.
Yeah.
I guess thank you for watching. It's another simple one, it's nice to do a simple three movie video every now and again
Yeah.
episode. Thanks for watching and tuning in to another episode of Campy Cast. Stay tuned for the
I
next
hope you all have a
video.
fun day.
Yeah, and see ya. Thank you for watching.
Plug Barbenheimer once more. Much prefer Gord Brody. Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.